Hey, what's good, everyone? Twisted here with Open Sorcery, and today I want to go ahead and provide some book recommendations. Now, this is the second time we've gone ahead and done so here. The first time was when my co-host Debbie and I went ahead and each shared 5 books that we thought would be helpful to those who may be listening. Now, this time around, it's just going to be me running a solo, providing 5 of my own, and doing pretty much, the same thing of hoping that whoever may be listening may find at least one of these useful for their journey in whatever sort of progression that they may be on, whatever path they are on, whatever sort of evolution they are on, spiritually speaking, metaphysically, all that good stuff. Now, to get into it, the first book that I recommend is The Pictorial Key to the Tarot by Arthur Edward Waite with illustrations by Pamela Coleman Smith. Now, for anyone who is familiar with tarot cards, this is a book directly from the creator of the Rider-Waite tarot card deck that is the basis for any adaptations or manners or styles of reading tarot nowadays. Ever since the early onset of the 20th century until now, the Rider-Waite deck is the foundational, actual deck used. And then pretty much all the other ones are derivatives from it and all that sort of thing. So, Arthur Edward Waite, he is the more so magician who went ahead and made these. Pamela Coleman Smith, who provides the illustrations, provide the illustrations for the cards themselves, and her works are featured in this book for each section, talking about each specific card. And lo and behold, not many people knew that it was actually a woman who went ahead and provided the artwork and illustrations for this highly influential deck and highly influential, piece of magical history. And that is something that I think honestly is a shame and something that should be highlighted a bit more, because usually just Arthur Edward Waite and the other individual who I'm not remembering their name at the moment, but they're more so the financial or the business-oriented person who brought the Rider-Waite deck to life and such. But yes, so pretty much the Pictorial Key of the Tarot is going to give you basic breakdowns and meanings and interpretations of the standard tarot card deck, the Rider-Waite deck, and all that sort of thing. Very much simple, straight to the point. Now, there's many books that exist out there on the topic of tarot, not just for this deck, but other decks and interpretations as well. But I figure, why not go with something that is derived from the actual originator and founder of this particular manner of divination themselves. So that is the first recommendation I have. The second one is called Liber Azag, the book of I'm tongue-tied here. Liber Azag, the Book of Sigils. Now, this is by someone named Frieder Akenu, and from my understanding of having read it, it is more so of just an ebook, and an ebook by a non-native English speaker. So, for those who happen to read it, it may be a little bit of a slog or a little bit sloppily written or what have you, but honestly, it is a very good, comprehensive collection of various manners in which you can construct sigils to go ahead and utilize in your work for those who happen to be interested in creating sigils or learning how they are constructed. Once again, for whatever magical or occult purposes that you may have for them. And honestly, it's a good reference point to have. So even if you don't think it's a good literary piece of work, just something to have as a reference guide for yourself or for others, regardless of your skill level, but definitely caters more so to beginners and all that sort of thing. So the next text I'm going to go ahead and recommend is more on the shorter side. The Liber Azag was also on the shorter side, but Stillness Speaks by Eckhart Tolle. Now, this right here, in comparison to other works that have been recommended in the first book recommendations video, Stillness Speaks is pretty much a very small, very short, you could say written like a mantra sort of text. Pretty much it follows the motto of keep it simple, stupid, that I definitely enjoy and try to adhere to the best that I can. And Eckhart Tolle goes ahead and takes the philosophy of the power of now, which has been mentioned previously in that book recommendations video, but also at various other times throughout the lifetime of Open Sorcery, and goes ahead and just provides it very simply to the point and all that sort of thing. Once again, as a mantra. So I recommend that text as well. Next, we have Spiritual Cleansing, a Handbook of Psychic Protection by Drajan Mikaharik, and that is me trying to pronounce their name. I don't know if I did it well enough or if I completely butchered it, but that's my attempt at doing so. So, Spiritual Cleansing, a Handbook of Psychic Protection. That right there is a collection of different sorts of folk, tactics, methods, practices for how going ahead and helping your energy body get rid of negative muck and negative sort of crap that may have attached itself to you, negative thought forms that you may have attached to you, and all that sort of thing. So the various bodies that are attached to you or that you possess, to cleanse things from your aura and so on. And honestly, I find it very useful and very simple in the methods that are provided and such, and very good for beginners and adepts alike to go ahead and utilize them. So once again, it is Spiritual Cleansing, a Handbook of Psychic Protection by Drajan Mikaharik. Now the last one I have right here is The Language of Creation, Cosmic Symbolism in Genesis by Matthew Peugeot. Now this one right here, I happen to go ahead and be a fan of a YouTuber named Jonathan Peugeot, who happens to talk quite a bit about symbolism, and this happens to be their brother, who is more so of the writer of the two, or at least in regards to nonfiction. And the language of creation itself, as the title specifies, talks about the book of Genesis and different mechanisms within it, tries to break it down in a very logical sort of manner. For those who don't necessarily understand it when reading it yourself, with all the allegory, with all the particular sort of symbolic things within it, whether you happen to be a Abrahamic person, in either being Jewish or Christian or even Muslim, or more so atheistic or agnostic, or whatever you may happen to be within your own journey, in your own life path. The Language of Creation, Cosmic Symbolism in Genesis by Matthew Peugeot is a good way to go ahead and be able to understand just at the most basic fundamental level how the different stories and aspects that are covered within it happen to operate and all that sort of thing. And also, I would say that in providing this for whoever happens to be reading it, that you can take this comprehension of observing different patterns or different ways that things interrelate and be able to expand that not only into other aspects of the Bible and such, because both individuals, Matthew Peugeot as well as his brother Jonathan Peugeot, happen to be Eastern Orthodox Christians. But this can apply to any other sort of religions or belief systems as well, or just anything within life that you happen to observe overall. Understanding and being able to comprehend symbolism and having a symbolically working mind, or shall I say, a mind that can decode symbolism, is very useful and such. So, once again, that book, Language of Creation, Cosmic Symbolism in Genesis, I recommend that. It can be a bit repetitive and such, but honestly, that repetition can be a good thing to hammer, these basic concepts home and such. And even though for me, in having read it the first time, it was more so just general mechanics that I comprehended already, I still appreciate it for what it was and think that it can be helpful to whomever may come across it and may not necessarily have more so of that mindset and ability to see things in that sort of manner, to go ahead and break it down symbolically, to go ahead and look past the surface level and such. So, with that having been said, those are my 5 recommendations at this point in time. I'll go ahead and run through the list once again. So that's The Pictorial Key to the Tarot by Arthur Edward Waite and illustrations provided by Pamela Coleman Smith. Libra Zag, The Book of Sigils by Freder Canu. Stillness Speaks by Eckhart Tolle. Spiritual Cleansing, A Handbook of Psychic Protection by Jalaja Mikahardik. And The Language of Creation, Cosmic Symbolism and Genesis by Mathieu Peugeot. So, with that having been said and provided for whomever may be listening, with links to the Goodreads pages for each of these books in the YouTube description once this is up. This has been Twisted with the Open Sorcery, and stay frosty, Neguses. Peace.